You will never see Stephen King the same after this. It's worse. It's worse than I could have ever imagined. Now, to be fair, one of the first books I read was a Stephen King book called Desperation. It was one of the first times, because English is my second language, I really struggled learning to read. And so around the same time I started reading the Bible, Stephen King was also a book that was given to me. And I was able to read for the first time and visualize stuff. So I have a warmth in my heart for Stephen King. Aww. But after this is some really dark stuff we're going to get into. So we got to give you a heads up.
Hide your kids, hide your wife.
Explicit.
All right. So Stephen King posted this yesterday on X. It gets 17 million views. Florida has banned 23 of my books. PF my books. He's an author, but he couldn't spell of.
This man had the least amount of characters he's ever written in his entire life.
Right. WTF. Okay.
Chris, blur out the F word.
So
thank you.
He's upset. Now, what is going on? So Florida has been going through, and they've been taking books that are inappropriate to be having in middle schools and high schools, and sometimes even elementary schools. Books that are promoting corn, that have just explicit stuff. And when I was in high school, that was the majority of folks that read Stephen King was high school students, right?
Yeah.
And so Mike Ringer responded to this. This is great, by the way. And then we're actually going to look at some of the stuff, and it's going to make you very uncomfortable. I'm just giving you guys a heads up. Look what Mike Ringer wrote. He said, translation, I wrote detailed erotic descriptions of things that I want children to read. But if I tell people that these explicit stories are not being allowed in children's libraries at schools, I won't get the outrage I need. So I'll gaslight everyone and tell them that my books are being banned by Florida. Okay. This is dark. Can we just jump in it? We were prepping for this and Zach was uncomfortable.
Yeah, I don't even know how much of this we'll be able to keep for the real video, but when Mike Winger here says detailed erotic descriptions of things, that is the most charitable way of putting it. In the book there is recounts of an insane scene that we're going to read or hear from the narration. So we're really going to have to hide your kids, hide your wife, of kids running a train on a girl.
This is
on
a
kid,
sickness.
a female, a little girl.
Highest order.
This is evil.
It's worse when you hear it too.
Right.
That's also the probably the.
All right, where are you, Bucko?
Where are you, Bucko?
Go ahead and play it. This is just for Bucko.
Stephen King pulled out his daggone computer and wrote these words. Everyone just think about these words being written. Okay.
Here we go.
Hold on.
I had your kids, had your wife.
Explicit.
You have been warned.
Yeah.
I don't want to hear nothing from you, Bucko. All right, go ahead and play it. Make sure it's at 1.25 speed because I can't take too much of this. This is going to get us demonetized for sure. So we got to even clean this up.
Yeah, we might have to clean it.
An idea, Beverly said, quietly. In the dark, Bill heard a sound he could not immediately place. A whispery little sound, but not scary. Then there was a more easily placed sound, a zipper. What? He thought.
Pay at 1.25. This is way too fast.
That's too fast? Okay. I felt good.
He realized what? She was undressing. For some reason, Beverly was undressing. What are you doing? Richie asked, and his shocked voice cracked on the last word. I know something, Beverly said in the dark, and to Bill her voice sounded older. I know because my father told me. I know how to bring us back together, and if we're not together, we'll never get out. What? Ben asked, sounding bewildered and terrified. What are you talking about? Something that will bring us together forever. Something that will show... No, Beverly, Bill said, suddenly understanding everything. That will show that I love you all, Beverly said, that you're all my friends. What she Mike began. Calmly, Beverly cut across his words. Who's first? She asked. Eddie comes to her first, because he is the most frightened. He comes to her not as her friend of that summer, or as her brief lover now, but the way he would come to his mother only 3 or 4 years ago.
This is a... What are you doing? We hit the same button at the same time?
This is a sickness.
Yes, of the highest order.
Oh, it gets worse.
He's opening the scene with describing how a kid would go to his mother.
This didn't make it in the movie.
Oh, no way.
Oh, this didn't make it in the movie. Bucko. Where are you, Bucko?
Yeah,
You're very quiet, aren't you now, Bucko?
Speak up.
Speak up, Bucko. Go ahead.
Hear from the pop Christians.
He doesn't draw back from her smooth nakedness, and at first she doubts if he even feels it. He's trembling, and although she holds him in the darkness, so perfect that even his closeness she cannot see him. Except for the rough cast, he might as well be a phantom. What do you mean? He asks her. You have to put your thing in me, she says. He tries to pull back, but she holds him, and he subsides against her. She has hurt someone, Ben, she thinks, drawing his breath. Bevy, I can't do that. I don't know how. I think it's easy, but you'll have to get undressed. She thinks about the intricacies of managing cast and shirt. First, somehow separating and then rejoining them, and amends. Your pants, anyway. No, I can't. But she thinks a part of him can and wants to, because his trembling has stopped and she feels something small and hard presses against the right side of her belly. You can, she says, and pulls him down. The surface beneath her bare back and legs is firm, clayey, dry. The distant thunder of the water is drowsy, soothing. She reaches for him. There is a moment when her father's face intervenes, harsh and forbidding. I want to see if you're in...
Marco's back in the chat.
Marco's caping for this, bro.
Did you see Marco's response?
Marco's caping for this.
He said, "Oh man, it's just a small part of the book, and
It's a metaphor.
And he shouldn't have written it. Yes, but it's a metaphor.
It's a metaphor, and it was for kids. This is the stuff that was being banned and taken out.
Check this out. Let's say it's for kids. Then it's graphic, erotic stuff written about children for children.
Mm-hmm.
Let's pretend it's not for kids.
Mm-hmm.
It's graphic, erotic scenes written about kids, written for adults. So either way you slice it. It is bad.
By the way, the ages of the characters in it, you want to know how the old the ages are?
Hit me with ages.
You would think that they're like college students.
They're 17, 18, 19, 20.
Right. They're seniors in high school, freshmen in college. They're experimenting.
Yeah.
They're 11. Oh! They're 11.
Oh, man.
They're 11. Where you at, Bucko?
Hey, Bucko.
Play the rest of this. Let's sit and let him cape some more
Also,
and bury himself with his terrible logic of it's a metaphor and he's a pedophile, but it's okay because he's written books I like.
Her father says, and then she closes her arms around Eddie's neck, her smooth cheek against his smooth cheek. And as he tentatively touches her small breasts, she sighs and thinks for the first time, this is Eddie. And she remembers a day in July. Could it only have been last month? When no one else turned up in the Barrens but Eddie? And he had a whole bunch of Little Lulu comics, and they read together for most of the afternoon. Little Lulu looking for beetleberries and getting
Pause it. So if his books should be 18 plus, why are they in schools, you goober? If his books are supposed to be 18 plus, why is he acting shocked on why his books got banned from school? Unless he intentionally wrote this with children characters so that children will read his books. Again, I know that's not possible.
Again, going back, let's not write child corn for adults either. 18 plus doesn't make 11-year-olds running a train on each other okay. What? That is almost worse because now you're saying
sorts of crazy situations. Witch Hazel, all those guys. It had been fun. She thinks of the birds, in particular of the grackles and starlings and crows that come back in the spring, and her hands go to his belt and loosen it. And he says again that he can't do it, but she tells him that he can. She knows he can. And what she feels is not shame or fear now, but a kind of triumph. Where, he says, and that hard thing pushes urgently against her inner thigh. Here, she says. Bevy, I'll fall on you, he says, and she hears his breath start to whistle painfully. I think that's sort of the idea, she tells him, and holds him gently and guides him. He pushes forward too fast and there is pain. Ah! She draws in her breath her teeth biting at her lower lip, and thinks of the birds again, the spring birds lining the roof peaks of houses, taking wing all at once under low March clouds.
Hold on, Javier, you can't say that in the chat. I mean, Javier said it's a famous artistic train, so it's okay.
Oh man.
Okay. By the way, this isn't isolated. I don't want to play any more of this. This isn't isolated.
Yep.
This is across multiple books. This is
23 books that didn't meet the criteria for being okay in school.
Right.
This your man's.
It's your man's.
And mind you,
is this your king?
Is this your king? Get it? Oh, that's great. Mind you.
Oh my gosh.
A grown man had to sit there, and then what do you do when you write? Right, you're visualizing a
what you're gonna
story.
write.
So you're imagining what children having a first encounter at the age of 11 would be like.
Mm-hmm.
And then you're proceeding to write that in a detailed way.
Mm-hmm.
While imagining how this scene is going to play out, what they're saying, and how to describe them still as children while doing an adult act.
This is a sickness of the highest order.
Now, this is your king, Marco.
This is your king. But he's not Marco. He's Bucko. He's been demoted. We're not even calling him by his real name.
This in no other world are you going to is someone going to have a deliberate action of writing, imaginating, having creative writing with how they're describing kids doing adult acts,
bro,
and not be called
PDF file.
A lover boy.
This makes Drake look like an ethical guidance counselor.
Dag, that man Drake.
This is
Drake's
This
out.
makes R. Kelly. Never mind. I'm not gonna go to R. Kelly.
Yeah. No, R. Kelly's still pretty bad.
R. Kelly's still pretty bad.
Yeah.
I read the book when I was in middle school. I literally had to skip this part. It even gets sicker once you get older and understand this stuff. That's what I'm saying.
Oh, yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Thank you, Mr. Pan. The fact that this stuff is being read by kids in middle school, the fact that this stuff is in high schools and middle schools, it's of 11-year-olds doing this sort of stuff. Right? And he keeps spamming the chat with the... Stop spamming the chat.
This man's getting all specific with what R ratings are and 15 plus.
We don't care what you think about R rated. Marco, you've exposed yourself as a complete
every age range. This book is unacceptable.
This is unacceptable ever.
Yeah.
This is like the folks that the Chris Tyson situation with him being into the lolly stuff.
This is a book. This is content that when created was not acceptable to be found on your drive by the FBI.
Right.
Right? Not just like, oh, my kid shouldn't read this or a Christian shouldn't read this. They're like, humans should not create this.
Mm-hmm. This shouldn't be created.
Yeah.
This shouldn't be created.
Yeah, and this is your artist. Not mine.
So,
but I feel like this is also what happens when there's that, a lot of his stuff is he's got really interesting stories. Mm-hmm. They're adapted into movies. He becomes bigger than himself, and people don't actually know what's going on in the art. Mm-hmm. And then it comes out. One of his biggest books just flew under the radar for that long.
It is what Google how many copies it has sold. So he's depicting an 11-year-old girl. For the record, this is an 11-year-old character who in the book is having a train ran on her by a bunch of 11-year-old boys in graphic detail. This movie has since been made. This book has since been made into a movie, and this book is one of the biggest selling books he has.
Yeah, I mean it's his number 4 most popular book.
Number 4 most popular book. He sold 350 million books. Yes, and a 2-part movie. So I don't know how you justify any of this. Right? So if someone's writing this sort of stuff and selling this sort of stuff, how is this not erotic PDF file art? Right? This is erotic PDF literature.
It's the same thing as what you're saying. Chris Tyson getting a painting. He was trying to say, "Oh, they banned my books in Florida," and they were like, "No, they got banned out of schools in Florida.
Right.
People can still buy the book in Florida.
Right.
They can go to a public library and get a Stephen King book. But to say
school libraries.
School libraries it's banned from. So that's why people were saying like it's kind of gaslighting everyone.
Well, you're in good company, Stephen King. These are just 300 of the books banned. Yeah, and they're well, Stephen King has, Forrest Gump has some wild stuff in there.
Yeah.
There's a lot of books that have like explicit stuff in here that are
also just watch the movies with your kids when the point is kids should not be reading explicit content without their parents, especially without their parents knowing.
Yeah.
And if a parent was like, "Oh, we're cinemaphiles. We're going to watch Forrest Gump," and you're a 12. That's their own personal decision.
Right.
Hey, we can skip this scene, da da da.
Yeah, and there's grape in Forrest Gump.
Exactly. But the point is to not have kids walking into the school library being like, I'm gonna read something during recess, and the parents have no control over that.
Right.
That's the problem.
That's the issue.
So that's why things that seem like, oh, it's Forrest Gump, it's a cultural icon. Yeah. You can't get the access to that without your parents' permission.
Right.
That's all that Florida is saying.
Yep. Okay, go to his post. I want to see some of the comments that he's getting in response. No. You were right there. You were
this
right
one?
there. Yep, right.
Oh,
Yep, right there. Let's see. Shout out to Meg. Meg Basham with the W on this one. She said books with orgies and explicit sex scenes are not appropriate for young children. Removing them from school libraries is not banning them, and it's frankly disturbing. You're upset that minors are not easily able to access the explicit sexual material you've written.
Yeah, the scene that we were reading goes on to continue with the 5 other boys in the sewer. So the first kid finishes, then the next kid, then the next kid, then think about how dark that escalates everything.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Yeah.
It's not great.
Darkness.
So Jesus in Matthew 18 is speaking, and he says, at the time the disciples came to him and asked, who then is the greatest in the kingdom of heaven? He called a little child to him and placed the child among them. And he said, truly I tell you, unless you change and became like little children, you will never enter the kingdom of heaven. Therefore, whoever takes the lowly position of this child is the greatest in the kingdom of heaven. And whoever welcomes such child in my name welcomes me. And then he goes on to say, if anyone causes one of these little ones, those who believe in me, to stumble, it will be better for them to have a large millstone hung around their neck and to be drowned in the depths of the sea. Woe to the world because of the things that causes people to stumble. Such things must come, but woe to the person through whom they come. Okay, so Jesus does not mess around with the kiddos. Okay, that's not okay. And the metaphor for the kids, I think, is because you have to have childlike faith. There's a wonder and a trust that children have, and he's saying in order to have faith to come to him, you have to have childlike faith, right? And so that childlike faith can be exploited. That childlike faith can be used to manipulate children, right? And sneak in dark thoughts
it comes from a place of innocence,
right? It comes from a place of innocence.
Books like that, things written like that, are trying to specifically rob children of their innocence, for whatever reason, for a power trip, for a scary agenda that we don't know about.
He's just a weirdo, man.
He's just a weirdo, exactly.
Yeah, he's just a weirdo.
So it's that. That's it.
And he called his 10 servants and delivered to them 10 pounds and said unto them, occupy till I come. The Occupy Till I Come collection is here at the Blessed God Shop, a collaboration we did with our friend Josh Nadeau from Sword and Pencil. This piece of art is made up of beautiful iconography, telling the story of sowing and reaping, dying to sin, and evangelizing the lost. In this collection, you will find these designs highlighted, such as this Death to Sin t-shirt, which highlights the bold design of hammering a nail through Satan's skull. And on the back, a large print that says discipline is freedom. Now you can find all the regular stuff like high quality printed shirts and Champs printed hoodies, but this time around we also decided to do some women's cut t-shirts as well. And for the first time ever, you can also pick up a beautiful canvas print of the Occupy Till I Come design or the Discipline is Freedom piece. And we also, for the first time ever, got an amazing 500-piece puzzle, which I personally enjoyed getting to sit down, do with my own family, and it sparked some really interesting conversations. And when you put on one of the pieces from this collection, it's a constant reminder that we are here to not just sit back and be apathetic, but to be the hands and feet of Jesus, to help usher in God's kingdom on this side of eternity and to care for the least of these. But this entire collection is only available until September 8th at midnight. So go to blessgod.shop and get yours now.